Howdy and welcome to part 4 of chapter 12. First thing to discuss here is managerial succession. Selecting the CEO has been and remains one of the most important responsibilities for a board of directors. Many companies use leadership screening systems in order to identify individuals with strategic leadership potential and also to determine the criteria individuals should satisfy to be a candidate for the CEO position. Organizations select managers and strategic leaders from two types of managerial labor markets: the internal market and the external market. An internal managerial labor market consists of a firm's opportunities for managerial positions and the qualified employees within it. An external managerial labor market is the collection of managerial career opportunities and the qualified people who are external to the organization in which the opportunities exist. Advantages of internal managerial labor markets include experience with the firm and industry environment and familiarity with company products, markets, technologies, and operating procedures. Advantages of the external market include that long-tenured insiders may be stale in the saddle. They kind of get stuck in their position and their direction. Outsiders may bring fresh perspectives. During the managerial succession process, sometimes it's necessary to hire an interim CEO. This is common. This person may be commonly appointed when a firm lacks a succession plan or when an emergency occurs requiring an immediate appointment of a new CEO. A primary advantage of appointing an interim CEO is that doing so can generate the amount of time the board of directors requires to conduct a thorough search to find the best candidate from the internal and external markets. Ultimately, we want strategic leaders to be effective in determining strategic direction and establishing organizational controls. These people need to be able to manage the firm's resource portfolio, sustain an effective organizational culture, and emphasize ethical practices. As these CEOs determine strategic direction, there's a lot that they need to consider. They need to be looking to the long-term vision of the firm's strategy and determining what their strategic intent should be. They should be looking 5 to 10 years into the future. They need to combine a philosophy with goals and also pursue the image and character that the firm seeks. Ideal long-term vision has two parts. One is core ideology, and the second is an envisioned future. Sometimes strategic leaders fail to select a strategy that helps a firm achieve its strategic direction. This can happen when the top management team and the CEO are too committed to the status quo. There are many examples of firms that have gotten stuck in a direction that they were already going. One of these examples is Xerox. Back in the 1970s, Xerox put a group of computer scientists together to create computers as they might be once offices stopped using copy machines and paper to manage their affairs. They created all kinds of new technologies such as the computer mouse, email, networked computers. They even had the computer scientist who invented copy and paste. They created all of these things, and these scientists took these ideas to the senior leadership at Xerox, and those leaders just didn't understand it. They got so stuck on the status quo of selling copy machines that they ended up letting that technology go. And they started sharing it with people. Steve Jobs was one who came in and was able to see what they were doing, thought the ideas were so good that he took them to Apple. In fact, Apple ended up hiring a lot of those computer scientists that were working at Xerox because Xerox didn't appreciate what they were bringing. Again, they were stuck on the status quo. CEOs may also have an aversion to risky actions. An aversion to risky actions tends to be common in firms that have performed well across time and firms with long-serving CEOs. CEOs may also become erratic or ambivalent, which can occur when a firm faces a turbulent competitive environment, making it difficult to identify the best potential strategy. I want to give you an example here. So this is the trend for the price of computer memory, the DRAM price per megabit over time. And you'll see that it follows a general trend of always going down. So for Micron to create or to formulate an effective strategy, they need to gain market share and scale production capacity to achieve a lower cost per bit because the selling price will go down. And the only way to make more money is to sell higher volume with lower production prices in order to maintain sufficient margin to grow and to be financially successful. In order to achieve their goals, they need to invest in research and development because that will allow them to develop smaller chips that have the same capacity, which allows a lower cost per chip and higher volume. It was also important to maintain a strong balance sheet. When I was working at Micron Technology, we had a lot of cash, more than anybody else really in the industry. And it was during a downtime. And because Micron had a strong balance sheet, we had the cash to be able to withstand downturns. We could see that other companies were losing money and were potentially going to run out of cash. That was okay with us because it gave us opportunities. One of those is that we were able to make a major acquisition that year. We had the resources necessary to acquire when no one else did. Question number 4, I want you to describe 2 situations, one each, in which it might be best for a CEO to be hired from the internal or external managerial labor markets.